After Isha, in the hush that comes right after the prayer, you have made this same promise more times than you could count. Tonight will be different. Tomorrow you will rise before the sky turns grey. You will guard your tongue. You will feel the words of your dhikr, the remembrance you speak, instead of just saying them. You have made this promise in different rooms, different years, at different depths of tired, and you believed it every time, and every time you woke to find the same person waiting for you in the mirror. Somewhere along the way you stopped calling this a struggle and started calling it a verdict on who you are. But what if it is neither? What if the very fact that you are still promising, still grieving the person you have not yet become, is not proof that you have failed, but proof that something inside you is still awake, still listening, still capable of being moved? Stay through this one. Near the end there is a verse written for a soul in exactly your condition tonight. You are not the first to sit with this ache, and you will not be the last. Almost every person who has ever tried to walk a sincere path has arrived, sooner or later, at this exact room, tired of themselves, unsure whether the trying even counts anymore. If no one has said this to you plainly, the war you are fighting inside yourself is not a sign that your faith is thin. It is often the opposite. A heart that has gone completely numb does not struggle. It does not notice. The very exhaustion you feel tonight, the disappointment in yourself that keeps you up, is the sound of a heart that has not yet gone quiet. That is the part nobody tells you. Here is the shift, and it is worth sitting with before we go any further. For centuries, the teachers who understood the inner life best did not describe your inner self as a single fixed thing, good or bad, whole or broken. They described it as something in motion, a self that is, right now, somewhere on a road, capable of moving in either direction. Not a verdict, a location. And once you understand that you are somewhere on a road rather than permanently stuck in a condition, the entire question changes. It is no longer what is wrong with me. It becomes, which way tonight am I facing? That is the question underneath everything that follows. But before we can talk about turning, we have to be honest about where most of us are standing. There is a state the old masters gave a name to, the commanding self, the part of you that wants what it wants, regardless of consequence, that whispers just this once, that negotiates with your conscience until the negotiation itself becomes a habit. You know this voice. It is the one that tells you the missed prayer does not matter tonight because you are too tired, and somehow it is always too tired. It is the one that turns a small compromise into a familiar room you keep returning to, not because you enjoy the room, but because you have stopped imagining another door. There is an old story, honest and unflinching, about a woman named Zuleika who loved the young man Yusuf, peace be upon him, with a desperation that led her to deceive and to scheme, and who was eventually confronted publicly with what she had done. And in the account we are given, she does not defend herself. She says something startling instead, that the soul, left to itself, presses hard toward what harms it, except where mercy intervenes. It is one of the most honest lines in the entire tradition, because it comes not from a preacher warning others, but from someone admitting it about herself, in public, after being caught. That kind of honesty is rare. It is also strangely relieving, because if a soul as capable and self-aware as hers could be pulled by this current, then your own pull toward what you know is not good for you is not a private disgrace. It is simply what an untrained self does in anyone until it is trained. And here we have to gently correct something many of us were taught, sometimes without anyone meaning to teach it. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us absorbed the idea that this inner self is an enemy to be crushed, that spiritual seriousness means treating your own desires, your own appetite for rest, for beauty, for connection, as something shameful to be starved into silence. But that was never the teaching. One of the great scholars of the inner life compared this self to a mount, an animal your spirit needs in order to travel anywhere at all. Let go of the reins completely, and it runs you toward ruin. But try to kill the animal outright, and you are left stranded on the path with no way to move at all. The instruction was never destruction, it was discipline. Hold the reins. Use the strength of the self instead of severing it. It also helps to loosen another modern habit, treating this inner struggle as nothing more than what we now call ego, some small vain part of us that wants attention. It is that sometimes, but it is also larger and older than that word suggests. It is the whole of you in motion. Your appetites, yes, but also your grief, your longing, your capacity for love, all of it unrefined. And unrefined is not the same as unworthy. A field before it is planted is not a failed field. It is simply waiting for a hand. For a long stretch of most people's lives, this is where the story seems to end. Same struggle, different Tuesday, but there is a second stage the masters described, and it rarely gets spoken about with the tenderness it deserves. It is called the reproaching self, the part of you that after the compromise, after the missed prayer, after the sharp word you regret, turns around and holds you accountable. There is a verse where this very quality is sworn by as something sacred in its own right, not a punishment, a witness. The discomfort you feel after you have fallen short of who you want to be is not your Lord rejecting you. It is a compass still working, still pointing home, refusing to let you fully forget yourself even when you have wandered. This is worth sitting with for a moment. Listen. That voice that keeps you up at night, replaying the thing you said, the prayer you rushed through, the anger you let out on someone who did not deserve it. That voice is not your enemy either. Most of us spend years trying to silence our guilt instead of learning to read it. But guilt, held rightly, is not meant to bury you. It is meant to turn you. Which brings us to a man whose life became one of the clearest examples of exactly this turning. Centuries ago, a scholar named Al-Ghazali sat at the very top of the intellectual world of his time, a professor in Baghdad, celebrated, secure, admired by everyone who mattered. And in the middle of that success, something in him went quiet in a way that terrified him. He describes it himself in his own account of those years, a creeping doubt, not about whether God existed, but about whether his own vast learning had actually brought him any closer to him. He realized he could explain faith brilliantly to a room full of students and still feel almost nothing himself when he prayed. So he did something almost no one in his position would do. He walked away from the career, the salary, the reputation, and left the city to live simply in near solitude, seeking not more information about God, but an actual encounter with Him. He was not chasing something dramatic. He was chasing the thing you are chasing tonight, a heart that feels what it says. And what he discovered and later wrote down for the rest of us is that this transformation is not one dramatic leap. It happens in 3 honest movements. First, you clear the ground. You name and gently release what is genuinely harmful in you, the way you would pull weeds before anything can grow. Then you plant. You deliberately grow the qualities you are missing. Patience where you had none. Honesty where you had cut corners. Gentleness where you had been sharp. And only after that clearing and that planting does the third movement arrive on its own, quietly, without being forced, a kind of clarity settling over the field, where what is true about your Lord stops being information you know and becomes something you feel while you kneel. Notice what is missing from that process. There is no mention of instant transformation, no single night where everything changes, just a field tended honestly, season after season. So what does clearing the ground actually look like on an ordinary Tuesday? It looks like remembrance, not the recitation you rush through, but the kind that actually touches something. There is an old teaching that the heart, like any surface left untended, gathers a kind of rust from careless living, and that remembering God is the one thing that polishes it clean again. Tonight, that could be as small as saying 3 phrases slowly, meaning each one, instead of speaking 20 quickly and meaning none. Fewer words, more presence, every time. It looks like solitude too. Not isolation, not withdrawal from the people who love you, but a few deliberate minutes with no phone, no noise, no performance, where you let yourself simply sit with what is actually true about your week. Even 10 minutes before you sleep, sitting in the dark without reaching for a screen, can return you to yourself in a way that hours of distraction never will. It looks like an honest accounting, gentle rather than punishing, a nightly habit of quietly asking yourself where you actually were today, not to spiral into shame, but the way a careful gardener checks the soil, what grew today, what still needs pulling, then letting it go until tomorrow. And it looks like patience, though not the passive kind. The patience the masters described was active, a steady, deliberate refusal to abandon the path on the nights when nothing seems to be changing. Picture a person walking home in the rain who does not stop walking simply because the rain has not stopped. They keep moving, soaked, unhurried, certain the door is still there. That is the patience this journey asks of you, not the absence of struggle, movement through it. Here is something you are rarely told plainly, so let it be said plainly now. You are allowed to still be in the field. You are allowed to be someone who is still pulling weeds at 30, at 50, at the very end. Nobody arrives finished. The ones who seem furthest along are not the ones who stopped struggling. They are the ones who never stopped tending, because there is a third stage, the one this entire field was planted for, and it is not the ground clearing or the growing season. It is the harvest. The old teachers called it the reassured self, a soul that has stopped fighting itself, not because it gave up, but because it finally trusts where it is being led. And the words given to that soul are some of the gentlest in the whole tradition, a voice calling it home, not with judgment, but with an invitation. Return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing to Him. Enter among my servants, enter my paradise. Read that again, slowly, and let it land on you specifically, not on some idealized version of a believer who never faltered, on you, the one who has broken this exact promise more times than you can count, who is sitting somewhere right now, tired, half convinced you are the exception this mercy was not written for. You are not the exception. The verse does not say return once you are perfect. It says return well pleased and pleasing as you are in motion, still on the road. Your Lord is not waiting at the far end of your transformation to finally love you. He is walking with you through the field itself, closer to you than the doubt that keeps whispering you have gone too far to come back. So carry 3 things with you tonight: that your struggle is not evidence against you, It is evidence that your heart is still alive enough to ache. That guilt, held gently, is not condemnation but a compass, still pointing you home even on the nights you ignore it. And that no field is tended in a single season. You are allowed to still be working the ground. Tonight, after you pray, before you reach for your phone, try this. Sit for just a few minutes in the quiet that is already there. Say a few words of remembrance slowly, meaning them. Ask yourself gently what grew today and what still needs pulling. Then let it rest until tomorrow, the way a gardener trusts the dark to do its own quiet work. If tonight's words found something in you, they may find something in someone you love too. And if you are the one making that same promise again after Isha tonight, rising before the sky turns grey, guarding your tongue, meaning your dhikr this time, let it be different only in this. Let it be gentle. Let it be a field, not a verdict. My Lord, you know the promise I keep making and keep breaking. Meet me in the trying anyway. Return me to you, well pleased and pleasing, however far the road still is. Ask yourself, before you sleep tonight, which way you are actually facing, and whether you are willing to take just one small step in that direction before the sun comes up. If none of this has put you to sleep yet, there is more of this field left to walk, and we can walk the next part of it together. You were never the enemy. You were only ever unfinished.